I'm Rose Stanley, and this is World at Work TV. I'm joined today by Sharon Cercone from PNC Financial Services Group, and we're going to be talking about how work-life has evolved at PNC. Sharon, in your own words, how has the work-life equation really changed and evolved at PNC?
We really have gone more from the early days of programmatic pieces of our work-life program to more of a holistic program. So whether you're talking about, backup care or EAP or physical health or financial health, we really have taken that and branded it in a way that, number one, is recognizable to employees, but number two, provides a solution for what they need at that time, and more from a broad perspective and an encompassing perspective rather than a transactional perspective.
So what were the challenges that you have seen along the way?
So the challenges are the same as they've always been. People are stressed, there's not enough time in the day, business is rapidly moving ahead. Maybe we see that even more so. And as our organization has grown, it's how do you bring that to individuals? How do you make that customized for them individually, yet being able to maintain that in a large organization?
Did your organization actually see these changes and kind of were proactive about it? Or was something happening in the organization or to the employees that made you become aware that, we have to look at things a little bit more holistically?
Well, we've always had acquisitions, and our organization has grown most recently in the last 10 years from 26,000 employees to 55,000 employees. So it's a much bigger organization, and as such, you still have the same programs, but life is rapidly moving ahead. And we see that even in the demographics of our employee base. Times are changing. And so how do we as an organization change with that and be able to provide the right resources in the right way at the right time to our employees or for our employees?
And this is supported by senior management as well?
Absolutely. Our senior leaders have always acknowledged that employees are central to the success of our organization. Our CEO often describes PNC as a Main Street bank with its employees as the heart. And whether we're talking about what we provide to our customers, the best customer experience, or our employees as the best employee experience, or even more so to our communities and how we can support them. At the heart of it are the employees, and if we don't make it easy for our employees to be able to have resources to balance their home and life responsibilities, then we're not doing a good job for our employees.
So Sharon, what are some of the tactics then that your organization has used in order to kind of tee up this whole process of changing from the evolution of work-life to this holistic view of well-being?
So our program is now called PNC Living Well, and it really encompasses the pillars of health, money, and life. And we believe that those are very broad pillars, but underneath those, it really gets to all of the resources, all of the programs, all the tools that employees have at their fingertips to be able to help manage their personal and work lives. But the other thing that we do is we encourage managers to fully embrace that for themselves as well, so that they in turn can be able to lead their employees. We see so many times that employees are hesitant about doing something unless their manager endorses that. But sometimes it's easier for a manager to say, go and do this, without fully experiencing it or embracing it themselves. So we've done a couple fun things as well in terms of communications. We have a different communication tool that we use, and it's almost like a Ann Landers, and it's Healthy Hallie. And she takes real life questions that we get to our email box posed by managers and posed by employees, and she answers them in a very knowledgeable yet fresh and fun and engaging way. So it really puts people at ease in understanding that, you know, these are real situations that happen. It's almost that storytelling, and by doing that, it shows employees that they have the opportunities, the license, and managers as well, to pursue and take accountability for their personal well-being.
I would imagine that by using that sort of communication, those employees that may want to avail themselves of some of the holistic well-being offerings that you have, they may not even know that you offer them unless they may be reading about someone else that stepped up and said, you know, I have a caregiving situation. So using that type of communication, I'm guessing, has really enhanced the program and the ability for employees to be able to utilize that.
Well, you know, Rose, that's the challenge. So much information is pushed to us as individuals in the news, in our work situations, you know, whether it's what kind of work information do they need, that sometimes the benefits or the things that will benefit you most from a personal perspective, you think that you don't have time for. But if you're not dealing with those issues and you're bringing those into the work situation, then they are very important to you. Quite frankly, every single time that I present to managers and employees on the nature of our program, I inevitably get, I had no idea we have all of this at our fingertips. And so one of the things that we need to really consider when we go out and communicate our programs is the right message at the right time for the right audience. Because you and I might not have a need right now for elder care, but 5 years down the road, a week from now, we might. The same thing with any of our resources. You might not need them right then, or you might not know that an individual, an employee needs those. But it's important to keep reinforcing them because that's going to be the right time for them, or maybe the right time for them.
Sharon, what advice would you give to other HR professionals as they start to look at their wellness, their work-life programs, and evolving it into a higher level holistic program?
I would say that you really want to look at it from the continuum, not just implement programs because you think that's what's needed at that time. Understand what your employee population is about, understand what the challenges that they have, and understand as an organization what makes sense for you. Many years ago, we implemented an on-site backup care center. We have one in Pittsburgh and we have one in Philadelphia, and that was great. But as we continue to expand, we realized that if you're in Peoria, you didn't have access to backup care, yet it was a significant need to the folks there. So we implemented national backup care. For us, that was a broader strategy and made sense in our continuation to expand in our organization. So I think that don't look at things as they're needed right this minute, but look at them 5-10 years down the road. Whether you acquire another company or not, our demographic, our employee demographic is changing, and we need to look at what makes sense from their perspective as well as the organization's perspective. And the other thing that I would say is find a way to get to the heart of people. So make it fun, make it challenging, make folks realize that they do have an accountability for their own well-being and that of their families, and by taking care of themselves, they will then in turn take care of the organization.
Thanks a lot, Sharon, for your insight.
Thank you.
For World at Work, I'm Rose Stanley.